What's up guys, and if you want to make a mini game box PvP map, this is the perfect map for you. I've got the ultimate guide right here showing you so many different types of mini games you can make. Make sure to like, subscribe if this tutorial helps you out. But anyway, let's just get straight into it because this is going to be a long tutorial. Right, so first you're going to want to build out your spawn area, and if you want the same wall and floor as me, then go to the content and search up movie in the gallery tab, and you can find the movie set gallery right here. And this is the wall I've used and this is the floor I've used, but obviously you can use whatever ones you want. Now players are going to spawn in here, and then 3 seconds later they're going to get teleported to the mini game. So you're going to want to mutate a zone in this waiting area, and for the settings I just put the zone width, depth and height to however big my area is. For me it's 5 by 5 by 2, and then no VFX disabled and allow building to off, so people can't build and it automatically doesn't let them shoot. I've placed down a billboard to show the name of it. Obviously you guys should know how to do that. This is more the visuals. We're going to set up how the mini games get chosen in a bit, but this is just for show, so everyone knows how long it's going to take before they get teleported. So if you do want to place this down, you don't have to, but you can if you want. So this is a timer device and I've renamed it to timer device start. This doesn't actually do anything, it's just for the visuals. So for the duration, it's 3 seconds. Game start on, can interact, no. Timer color, you can put it to wherever you want. I've done white. Timer running text, I put picking minigame. And timer label text, I put it to large. This all should show on their HUD. I'm going to go through all these mini games and I'm going to show you how to do every single one. So let's jump straight into it. So first, place down a random number generator. And for the settings, put the value limit 2 to however many mini games you're going to want to have on your map. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I've done 10. If you guys do enjoy this tutorial, then I'll make a part 2 to this video, and I'll make some more mini games in the next part. So make sure you put value limit 2 to however many mini games you're doing. For the purpose of this tutorial, I've done 10. Put the winning value to 0. The zone direction, it doesn't really matter, but for me I put backwards. Length, put it to the same amount as your value limit 2, so there's a tile for each section or each mini game, so 10 for me. Visible during games to no, play audio off, and activate on phase the game starts. And by default the roll time is 3 seconds. You can change that if you want, and you can also change that in the timer if you set up the timer if you want for the visuals. But for me it's going to be 3 seconds before they get teleported to their mini game. You can make that instant if you want, but I just like it so that players get a bit of time. So first guys, I'm going to go over the first mini game. The first one I've got is OG loot. So if you set it up how I said you should, the value limit 2 and the length should be the same. So that means each tile will be a different mini game. As you can see, there's like a line separating each tile, and when the random number generator chooses something, as you can see, it selects the tile and the trigger will go off and it will enable the mini game. So place down a trigger in the first tile, and I've renamed this to trigger OG loot because this is going to be the OG loot mini game. And for the settings, put visible during games to off, and you can put triggering by player, vehicles, water to off. You don't have to, but you can if you want. Trigger VFX and sound effects, you can turn that to off if you want. Now guys, you're going to want an item granter, and this is going to be how we're going to get the players into the box fight area. So on the settings, put receiving players to all, on grant action keep all, and grant all items. When you go over to the functions tab, make sure you put grant item when seen from the trigger on triggered. So when this tile gets triggered, then the item granter will grant them this loot. And after that, we're going to make them teleport into the box fight area. Now this could be a bit confusing, don't worry, I'm going to go through it all. So place down a teleporter, and I've renamed it to N because we're going to have different teleporters for different mini games, and N means normal. It's just a shorthand way of doing it. So for the settings on the teleporter, put teleporter group to none, teleporter target group to none, selected team. You're going to want to have 16 of these teleporters, and they're all in a different box, so players can box up in their own area. So for this one it's team 1, but for each one it's going to be a different team. Teleporter with visible, no. Play visual effects, no. Play sound effects, no. Conserve momentum, no. And face player in teleport's direction, I put it to yes, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Then go to the functions tab and put teleport to where I'm seen from the item granter on item granted. And that's going to be for every single teleporter. We're going to copy it in a second. these are all the mini games that are going to be teleporting them to the normal box fight area. So for the item granter, OG loot on item granted, and then you can copy that teleporter, and then for the next one all you have to change is select your team to 2 and then copy that again, and then for the next one it's 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 6, and it goes up until however many players you have on your map. For me it's 16, so it goes all the way up to team 16. We're going to come on to the barriers in a second and the storm. Now we're going to set up a HUD message device to tell the players that OG loot got picked. So place down a HUD message device, and I've renamed it again to OG loot. You're going to see a trend here. I'm going to rename the device, every single device I'm using, to that mini game, so we don't get confused and we know how to link the devices together. So the message is OG loot. Placement top center, text color wherever you want, I put white, and the size wherever you want, I put it to 50. And then scroll over to the functions tab and put show when seen from the trigger OG loot on triggered. So again, that's from the trigger right here. If this box gets chosen, the trigger will grant them the loot, and then grant them the loot right here. And then on the events tab, it's gonna on item granted, you should see it's teleporting 16 times to each teleporter, and each teleporter has a different team on it, so each team should get teleported to their own little box. Make sure you have them in a checkered pattern so we can place barriers separating them. Right, so now we're going to do some mats and ammo. This is going to be for the general purposes of box fights. Obviously for like Spleef or tire toss you don't need lots of mats and ammo, but for a normal box fight like this you do. So place down another item granter, and this is going to be for normal mats and ammo, so that's why I've renamed it for this one. And receiving players is to all get an on grant action key pool and grant all items, and make sure it's grant item we're receiving from the trigger OG loot on triggered. Now guys, we're going to set up a timer that's going to disable the barriers so when the game starts. So place down a timer device, and I've renamed it to normal box fights because this is going to be for the normal box fight area. We're going to have different timers for the other different mini games. So for the duration I put it to 5 seconds, can interact no. Timer color white, it doesn't really matter. Timer running text, I put barrier drops in, and then timer label text style, I put it to large. So it starts when we're seeing from the trigger OG loot on triggered. Now we're going to set up the barrier that the timer is going to disable. So place down a barrier, and again I've renamed it to barrier device N, just like the teleporter, because it's going to be a normal barrier for the normal box fights. And for the settings, put barrier material to wherever you want. I put blue force field. Zone shape, put it to hollow box, because the player's going to spawn inside the zone. And barrier height, I put it to 2, because that's how high my box fight is. And then shrink to allow burning, you should put it to on, so then people can build. Then in the functions tab, put disable when receiving from the timer device on success. So when the timer finishes after 5 seconds, it's going to disable the barrier. And you're going to want to copy this for every tile you've placed a teleporter. And you should have had this in a checkered pattern, so there's always a space in between. Right guys, now we're going to come on to the storm, and this is again going to be for the normal box fight area. And for the settings, I put generate storm on game start to no, initial radius, so however big your area is before the storm comes in. So for me it's 30 meters. Wait time, I put it to 30 seconds. Resize time, I put it into 2 minutes, and move time to 2 minutes. You can change that depending on what you want, but that's what I've done. And then generate storm when seen from, put it to trigger OG loot on triggered. You can kind of see a pattern here. Everything's getting triggered or granted when seen from this trigger. Now when we go into this trigger, once you've set up all that stuff, you should see this stuff in the events tab. So on triggered, it should send the event to the HUD message to show, the timer device to start, so the barriers disable, the item granted to give them the mats and ammo, the storm controller to generate the storm, and finally the item granter to give them their loot. Now for OG loot, obviously you're going to want OG loot, so I've just done a gold scar and a gold pump, but you can obviously put whatever OG loot you want in that, and I put 2 minis and a shield pot. Now we're going to come on to specific item or weapon mini games. So what you're going to want to do for this is multi-select the trigger, the item granter, and the HUD message device, and then copy it over to the next tile, just like that. And then for the settings, I've renamed the next one to Mythic Loot. Now you can do lots of different specific item or weapon specific game modes. So some examples here are obviously Mythic Loot here, exotic weapons only, a Mythic Goldfish, or even an Infinity Blade. But obviously you could do whatever you want. It's the same process, so I don't need to copy it out for each of the different game modes. Basically just drop the weapons in the item granter and it's the same in the normal box fight area. These should already be linked together if you multi-selected them. They shouldn't be connected to the previous ones. But if you do want to check that, once you've renamed these devices to the next minigame, when you go into the trigger, you should only see ones that say Mythic Loot and not the one previously, which was the OG Loot. Now for the settings, it's the same on the item granter, and for this one I've dropped in Mythic Loot. I've done Disguise, Assault Rifle, and a Mythic Havoc Pump. And then in the HUD Mesh device, Mythic Loot. And make sure it's only shown when seen from the trigger for Mythic Loot, and this is only shown when seen from the trigger Mythic Loot. Make sure it's not shown when seen from any other. I can't stress that enough. I know you guys came into a problem with that from my superhero tutorial, so I just want to stress that. Make sure it's not connected to a previous trigger, otherwise multiple events will happen at the same time and you don't want that to happen. Now if you wanted to do this again, for example exotic loot or Mythic Goldfish, you just multi-select this again and change the weapons inside the item granter. If you want to do that, just go in here and then press the thing in the bottom left, and then you can press here to clear items and then put new items in the item granter. Make sure on the item granter it should still have all these teleporting, but just make sure it's still on there. On the trigger it should still activate the timer, give you the mats and ammo, and activate the storm. Now we're going to set up first person, so make sure to multi-select the trigger, the item granter, and the HUD message device, and again copy it over, and you can rename it to first person. The settings are all the same again. I put normal box fight loot in here, so a blue AR, a gold pump, 2 minis, and a slurpfish, and again it's renamed, so this one's first person. And make sure it's only granted when we're seen from the trigger first person, the one in front. And then for the HUD message device, it's again renamed to first person, and in the message I put first person, and it's triggered from the first person trigger over there. Now to make the first person, you're going to want a camera orbit device, and for the settings, put add to players at start to off, field of view to 120, distance to 0, offset X to 30, offset Y to 0, and then also put offset Z to 78. Then for horizontal speed and vertical speed, put this both to 1000 centimeters per second. Then the functions tab, put add to all when seen from the trigger first person on triggered. So when this tile gets triggered, the trigger will go off and the first person. Alright guys, so now we're going to do sniper one shot, so make sure to multi-select it again. The trigger, the item granter, and the HUD message device. You don't have to multi-select the first person because we're not doing first person this time. And I've renamed it to sniper one shot. In the item granter I put a bolt action, some ammo, and 10 wood, because we're not going to use the normal mats and ammo because we don't want them to have max materials. You only want them to have a tiny bit of materials. So in the trigger, if you copy and paste it, you want to remove where it says item granted normal mats and ammo. And how you do that is you press whatever button it says there. For me it's A, and then press A again to remove it. As you can see, the normal mats and ammo, I haven't got it connected here because we don't want it connected. And then for the HUD message device, I've renamed it again, and it's sniper one shot in the message as well. And it's again receiving from the trigger sniper one shot. And to make the players one shot, you're going to want to give them a certain class to make them 1 HP. So for the settings, put class to switch to whatever one you want. You haven't used yet in your map, so for me I put 1. Volume visible during games to off, visible during games to off, activation audio off, zone audio off, and display VFX when activation to off. And then change player to class when we're seeing from the item granter on item granted. The sniper one shot. So the item granter on item granted, it's going to give them the class selector. So for the class designer settings, put the class identifier to the same as what's on the class selector. So for me it's class 1. Then the starting health percentage, put it to 100% and max health to 1. So this means they're going to be 1 tap to the sniper. Right guys, so now we're going to do an actual specific area minigame. So this one's going to be a little different. So go into the trigger and in the events tab you're going to want to remove and disconnect the storm controller, the timer and also the normal max and ammo, because otherwise it's going to enable this storm and we're going to make our own separate storm for this mini game. Make sure again you multi-selected this and this. For the Spleef mini game I used a heavy sniper and then I put some heavy bullets in there. Make sure again it's only granted when seen from the trigger for Spleef right here, and for the message I've put Spleef, and yeah, it's once again granted from the trigger. And then you're going to want another card selector because we're going to want the players invincible, because you don't want players to kill each other, you only want them to drop down, you don't want them to kill each other while they're playing the game. So for the settings in the class selector, put class of switch to 2, and then it's the same settings as the class selector over here, so you can copy and paste it and put the class selector to 2. And then for this one, the class designer, it's the same class identifier as the one you had here, so for me it's 2. And then for the settings I put start with pickaxe to no, because you don't want players to pickaxe down, you only want them to use the sniper. And then put invincibility to on, max health to 10,000, starting shield percentage to 100, max shields to 10,000. So that means they're going to be invincible, and they don't have a pickaxe, so they can't pickaxe down in the Spleef arena. Now the fun part where you get to build the Spleef arena. So for me I've done 7 by 7, and how tall it is, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 by 7 by 7. And there's 3 layers of glass tiles. If you want to get the glass, place down go to your galleries and select and search up glass, and then you'll find the glass gallery, and I placed it down. And then you want to get the floor piece here, and then in the settings on the floor piece I've made it black, the colour black, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to, it's just easier to see. You can change the colour to wherever you want really. Now to get players teleported over here, obviously it's a different teleporter to the other area. It's the same settings as the other teleporter, so the group is none, the teleporter type group's none, rift visible no, visual effects no, sound effects no, conserve momentum no, face player and teleporter direction to yes. And for the functions tab, put teleport to when seen from the item granted Spleef on item granted. We don't have to make 16 separate teleporters because we're going to want all the players to teleport to the same place. We don't have to teleport them to separate boxes like we do for the normal box fights over there. So make sure you have selected team to all. On that note, when you go back to the item granter, if you copied it over from the previous one, you're going to want to remove all the normal teleporters. So when you go over here you can remove all these, just double tap whatever button it is. For me it's A, and then you can remove them like that, because you only want the teleporter up here to be connected to it. Once you placed all your glass, it's 3 layers, place down a prop manipulator. This is going to be so you can actually break the glass. So for the settings, put affect all objects in zone to on, zone width, depth and height to a bit smaller than the actual area, because you don't want the walls to be affected by it, otherwise you'll be able to break the walls. So it's 6 by 6 by 6, is it? Yeah, 6 by 6 by 6, and that's gonna enable all the glass to be broken but not the walls. So for the rest of the settings, put modify prop health to yes and prop health to 1. So the sniper's gonna instantly destroy all the glass. And then at the bottom guys, you're gonna want a lava tile. Just search up lava in the galleries and you'll find it right here, lava tile, and that's the lava tile I've used, and I've placed it on the bottom. And then you're going to want a damage volume, and then for the settings put zone width and depth to 7, or however big you made your Spleef arena, and then for the height I put it to 1 so it just pokes out above the lava. Finally guys, for Spleef you're going to want a mutator zone, and I've renamed it to Spleef because when players spawn in you don't want them to instantly be able to break down. So we're going to give a wait period before they they're going to be able to break down. So for the width, depth, and height, put it to 7 by 7 by 8 because this is one layer below, so it's 8. Enable the effects are disabled and allow building to off, and by default it should have allow weapon fire to off. And we're going to disable this from a timer for 5 seconds, just like the barrier in the normal box fight area. So place down another timer, and for the settings I put duration to 5 seconds, can interact no, timer color white, timer running text to Spleef starts in, and timer label text delta large. And then start when seeing from the trigger for sniper Spleef. So that's the one inside the RNG device, right here. And then on success, when the timer device finishes, you just gotta want the mutator zone device to disable. Place down another storm controller, and I've renamed this one to Spleef because it's the Spleef area. And for the settings, generate storm on game start to no. Initial radius, I put it to 30 meters, and wait time to 30 seconds. And the resize time is a minute. I haven't changed that because this one is a bit faster than a normal box fights. Now guys, we're gonna make floors lava. So once again, copy over the timer, the item granter, and the HUD message device. For this one, I've done a blue AR, gold pump, and 2 minis and a slurp fish. And again, it's only triggered from the floors lava because this is the floors lava item granter. And then on item granted, we're gonna give them a teleporter for floors lava, which will be this teleporter in here. It's the same settings as any other teleporter, but it's just teleported to them seen from the item granter floors lava on item granted. And then a HUD message device to show it's floors lava. It's only shown from trigger floors lava. I think you get the gist now. It's the same for the item granter and the HUD message device for all these different mini games. Now, so to make the floors lava arena, I've done 10 tiles up by 7 by 7. And you can copy over the timer and the storm from the Spleef, and you can copy it over here and rename it to floors lava. If you copy it over, it will still have Spleef, so make sure you only have it from the trigger floors lava on triggered. And for this one, I've put lava rises in as the timer running text. And then on the basic storm controller, it's the same settings, but make sure it's only triggered when seeing from the trigger floors lava, and not the Spleef one if you've copied it from there. Now, to get the lava to rise, I've got the same lava tile that we used over here, but I've just resized it down on the height because I found that the height was a bit too big. So you can resize the height just like that to the lowest it goes. Place the lava underneath and make sure it covers the whole of the playing area. And then to make the lava go up, you're going to want to have a prop mover. And I've renamed it to floors lava. And then for the settings, I put distant measurement to tile. The distance is 7.5, so there's a bit of space at the top. I don't know why it's 7.5 when the height of the actual box is 10. Don't ask me why, but yeah. Speed, I put it to lower, 0.25. On air collision, push on damage is 1. On player collision, push damage is 1. On prop collision, continue, minus 0.25. It doesn't really matter. Should move on start to off. And then start with seeing from the timer device floors lava on success. And then you're going to want to copy this for each lava tile, because you won't be able to cover the whole playing area in one tile. You're going to need more than one tile. I've used 4 tiles here to cover the whole playing area. And if you want players to build underneath, you're going to need a terrain piece. Go to your galleries and then you can search up terrain. It can be, because it's one of the settings right here. And then I've gone to the Grey Cliff gallery, and then I've got this prop right here, and I've resized the depth and the width and depth to the highest they go, and then I placed it underneath the lava. This means that players can build mid-air and they don't have to be connected to the wall to be able to build. And again, put your prop mover on the terrain piece as well, on all of them. Also guys, if you want a safety measure, sometimes the players can glitch through the lava if they get pushed up against it, so you can place down a pulse trigger if you want, and this is going to automatically eliminate players if they drop down below. So for the settings, I put the BPM to 15, the length, width and height 7, 7 and 10, the zone direction to none, the pulse direction to up, damage to 5000 and custom pulse starter on. That just means it's like red. It's a red color like that. And then guys, put start pulse when receiving from the timer device floors lava again on success. So the prop mover starts when receiving from the timer that we set up at the top. So up here we set up the timer. After 5 seconds the lava's going to rise. And on success it's going to make all the prop movers start. Now guys, I think I'm going to have to leave the rest of these mini games to another video, because this video, I just saw the runtime of this video is getting super long. So make sure to like and comment down below if you want to see the part 2 where I'm going to go over Hog Rider, Double Pump, a Tire Toss and Pickaxe only. Even go over some others like Rags to Riches or Gun Swap or Instant Reloads or Flying or even an edit course. So let me know guys if you want to see those. There does end up being a part 2. I'm going to show the video on screen right now. As you can probably tell, this video has taken a long time to make, so if you could like and subscribe, that's going to really help out the channel. Thanks for watching the video guys, peace.